Padres making a sneaky good sign, and let's talk about the Friars' latest move and why this could be World Series or bust. If you know, you know. Let's go down this rabbit hole, Padres fans, on another episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much for tuning into the show that is always excited to turn this direction and look at what graphic is coming up next, but never realizes that that's taking me away from my microphone. So I do apologize for that. Thank you for bringing that up in the comment section. I get excited, but it's not an optimal setup here for what I'm trying to do. See, as I'm looking over, because I want to look over and make sure that I nail this Kalshi intro, because we always got to say thank you to Kalshi for bringing you today's video. Kalshi is America's largest options trading network, and right now, if you want to get in on Kalshi, well, then we've got a great deal for you. You can use the code DIGESTMLB when you sign up using the link in the description below. And Kalshi's going to hook you up with $20 on your first $100 that you trade in options there. It's not just the smart way to use your Padres knowledge, but all of your baseball knowledge, because they have something for absolutely everything and everyone, like us Padres fans that have to deal with the a bell curve, how it's got that distribution from one end to the other, and in the middle it's kind of what's most likely to happen, and on the other end of the two extremes, the Padres fans, you do have a pretty wide bell curve of like days where we land major hauls and get Michael King back and get these big trades and Mason Miller, and then days where it's like, hey, you know what we got to be excited about today is the fact that we signed Samad Taylor. And it's a minor league move, and you're going to say, like, Christian, you're being a little crazy. But just hear me out. So Samad Taylor, I think that this represents just as much potentially of the pieces of the World Series as a major signing does for the Padres, given that what it seems like the Padres are doing or have done this offseason is kind of kick the can down the road with Michael King, say run it back. And other than that, have just been like, look, we've got Laureano coming back. We've got some minor improvements. So let's just invest and hold on. And we're getting Musgrove. And there's not really seeming to be like quite as bad of a fire sale as we thought, but there's also not quite as big of a crazy expenditures as have been in the highest season. So the Padres got to start winning, to me at least, in both the, we can talk about Yu Darvish retirement, 10 more million spent, or are they going to go get Arraez, or what's a big trade? But also we need to start talking about like who are guys 26, 28, 34, 37 down on the roster, just through the sheer attrition of like in a regular season. You're absolutely crazy if you're saying we're going to start with 25 guys and we're going to finish with those same 25 guys, and not one of them is going to have a single ailment or miss a single game. It's just mathematically impossible. So the Padres have to look to the minor leagues to be like, hey, who's going to be our next guy up? Or at least, we're looking to our bench for who's going to be next guy up immediately, but we're looking to the minor leagues for, there are going to be stretches for like 7 games here where we're going to need a guy, for 2 weeks here where we're going to need a couple of platoon outfield. Like there's just stuff where we're going to need, and those guys, they're worth a couple of minutes in the middle of January. And Samad Taylor, his career numbers, for those of you that want the numbers and like the numbers, we can call up the numbers. I will leave the numbers here intentionally small, in so much as that, like, you don't look at the numbers. I am aware that he is a 27-year-old minor leaguer who is available because of the fact that these are not unreal numbers. But just in trying to weave together a narrative of an offseason and talk about some of the moves the Padres make or have made paying dividends, this article came out from Sports Illustrated on the trade, and in there they talked about The best season that Taylor had that he, when he was back with the Royals in 2023, starting the season at AAA, he was called up by the Royals and spent just under 70 at-bats. They call it a 60 plate appearance cup of coffee. He hit 200 with not any significant slugging percentage. And that was the longest that he spent in the majors. And so he's a career minor leaguer at this point and a guy that's kind of a washout. And somebody who was a higher round draft pick way back in the day. And like, if I'm weaving the weave that I got to do to fill content void, I'm saying, like, this is the kind of guy that, to me, Will Myers, as his special consultant job down in the minors, can be like, hey, you're definitely not where you wanted to be or where you thought you would be or where you'd be, and just get his head a little bit right and see, like, if there is any baseball in him, to get it out of him. And so that it's that trickle down of, well, here, like, it's the trickle down of when, like I said, one guy goes out, next guy steps up, third guy has to step into where next guy was on the bench, has to come out. Maybe it is only 70 at-bats this season, but 70 at-bats of having a guy who can hit 235 and play some infield. And if you look right now for me at the Padres infield, it is good, but it is not it's not where they want it to be, given that right now on the Padres depth chart, Jake Cronenworth is starting at both first and second base. And that's great. Super shift. Look at him. What a dude. Go Wolverines. But no, on a serious note, like, this is obviously a sign of a team that doesn't have all of the set pieces figured out permanently season-wide, because Cronenworth's going to have to go to one of those two. Sun Moon Song at second, Jake at first, Jake at second, Sheets at first. Leave a comment on that. Like, what is the combo that you want to see there? Kind of regardless of what the combo is that ultimately you want to see there. So, like, some sort of movement's going to happen there. Someone's going to move, say at second base it's Sun Moon Song. Then we've got McCoy and Wagner as our backup dudes. So you get what I'm saying, where it's like, hey, if Sun Moon Song goes down, everyone moves up. I'm overly explaining something, but then, okay, over here on the other side, Xander is talked about still in trades, and maybe he's back, maybe he's not. Manny probably is pretty solidly stuck at third, but slotted at third. But he's also a guy who, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that he is in favor of load management in terms of keeping himself healthy and active all season. It's been showed that he doesn't mind taking an occasional DH day just to keep things straight, keep things right. And so he takes good care of his body. So he's going to be there and hopefully be available all season long. But he's a guy who sometimes just, you don't need to put him at third. Just put your backup in. But again, that's where we got the two guys over that might, our backup third baseman might be our starting second baseman. It just, you see what, I do all of this to drive home the point that the Padres don't have, to me, infield depth that leaves me just satisfied. So I am saying that making moves like pulling a minor league transaction vibe for league minimum, dude who's out of options, and is just, is league minimum salary that we can take one season out on, or just even a spring training on. Give him the spring training at bats. See how he does. Does he have anything? Maybe, maybe not. But if he has a little something and we can squeeze a little something out of him because of good organizational moves that we've made, and he helps in aggregate float the Padres up, then to me, it's a good move. And it's a sneaky good move. Let me know what you think about kind of the whole depth of the infield situation. And as always, if you want to hit the subscribe button, never going to be mad at you for it. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys soon.